Hey, I can see that Anisha and Lynette just came in. Do you all mind sending me the link to my phone? I cannot. It takes a while for me to be able to get to the screen on Clubhouse. It'll let me on, but it won't let me get to the screen to be able to share. And I need to be able to share this. So if y'all can send the link to my phone, I would really, really appreciate that. Hello, hello, good morning, good morning. Maybe I need to re download the app or something, but it is acting really weird for me on today. Listen, I am Dr. Tavis, the founder of this space, Business Strategies Made Simple. And I come in here now with my millionaire let's see. Um, but I come in here with my millionaire mentor, and we every week provide some valuable financial information, financial um, tools and tips every single day. I mean, every single Tuesday we come in here. And so I just pray that you get the tools and tips that you need. It is tax season, and we are going to be doing mindset shifts for the tax season 2024. Hopefully, by the middle of our conversation, I'll be able to come on the main screen. As of now, though, every time I click to try to come on, I cannot come on my face, but I do. The only two buttons I have is leave quietly, hand raising, and the microphone. That's it. Everything else is in the bottom on the bottom of the row. Cannot see it. So if you want to come up to the stage, I can definitely bring you up, but I won't be able to mute mics in this space. So this app is crazy, but it's okay. So I am here. I am Dr. Tavis Taylor. I'm a business strategist. And one of the areas that I love to focus on is mindset and money. Mindset, money, ministry, managing life, all the M's. And I have the opportunity in this space to be able to nurture it in business with my millionaire mentor, Brian Jubert. I've known Brian for over 20 years. Yeah, it's been over 20 years. Over 20 years. I've known Brian. I think I worked at Georgia State. I knew you before Tyler, so it's been about 25 years. I've known Brian forever and a day. Let's just say that. And so to be able to be in this space, to have the opportunity to come. He is the tax guru of all tax gurus. If he don't know the answer, he can definitely find somebody who does know the answer and get an answer back to you. So I just want to, I'm grateful that we have this opportunity to be here in this space. I do not know who all is in the room, but I do know that Brian is here because I can see Brian and 11 others of you. So on this morning, I am going to allow Brian I'll ask questions here and there, but it's tax season. And the first question I want to ask, First question, Brian, is do you all have a tax strategist, more than a tax preparer, but a tax strategist, somebody that can help you navigate into this tax season and even future tax endeavors? Do you have a tax strategist or someone that can help you, tax specialist that can help you navigate in the tax season and know exactly the do's and don'ts and the rules that can tell you what needs to take place? Let's do this. I would like for my mentor, Brian, to introduce himself first, and then we're going to get started from there. Go ahead, Brian. Introduce yourself.
Well, good morning and happy new year, everyone. I don't think I spoke to y'all in the new year, so good morning, happy new year. Hope everyone 2024 is starting off magnificent. As Dr. Tavis said, my name is Brian Jubert, tax strategist, going into my 27th year in the business. And I used to downplay that at one time, but now I really kind of embrace that because when you think about, how hard it is to succeed in business for 3 years, 5 years, so to go into 27, that's kind of a big thing. So, I do don't, I do take that basically and relish it because I understand that I got a lot of people that's listening to me, that's embracing the information that I'm giving. So, I say that proudly. But I specialize in business taxes. I specialize in real estate agents. I also do personal, but my specialty is business. And I'm extremely passionate about seeing us win because one of the things I've learned in my studies is that rich and successful people main focus is keeping their money. And the majority of them keep their money through understanding the tax game. And so until we understand the tax game and how important it is that somebody's taking 40 to 50, maybe 60% of sometimes our money, that we can't win and elevate to the levels that we want to. Because if you're basically working on half of the money that you're getting, but you're doing 100% of the work, it'll take you a lifetime to accumulate the type of wealth that you need to sustain the life that you're given. So my goal is to help you reach those goals through taxes, through business. So thank y'all again for allowing me to get on, man. And let's get this money in 2024.
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you so very much. My question for you, Brian, we're in a different culture at this time. I guess I'll interview you and let you have at it. Oh, I got to send you an email. I've had my assistant download the last, I think a lot of the stuff that we've done. So I'll get that over to you probably while we're talking now. Get you a link to that so that you can have all of the recordings. Whoop, 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 go us, Brian. So my question for you is this, right? As the culture has shifted, and we're crossing over. It's tax season now. People are getting ready to complete their tax returns. We have different pockets of people that file taxes, right? Y'all, I'm prepping for my television show. But we have different pockets of people who file their taxes. Let's talk to first. Let's go from one end of the spectrum to the next, if we can. First of all, let's talk to the single mom who's claiming their children this year. Let's do the single mom with children under 17. Can we talk to her and see what's in store for her this tax season, Brian? Now, this is what I want y'all to do. I cannot put the link up. I can't even put it in the chat box as of yet. But I do want you to make sure that you're following Brian. I think I'll send it to Lynette to put in the chat box so that you can reach out to him. Remember, I had the wrong link in there for a while. Now I have the correct link so that we can connect you directly to Brian and his tax office. I highly recommend him and his services. He is so approachable. And I'm expecting not just you, because here is the thing. Here is the thing, because I think Brian does referrals, but I'm expecting you to refer somebody to Brian. I want everybody in this room to make a commitment that this tax season, because of what Brian does for us, we're going to market. He comes in here and give us free information. The least we could do is refer somebody to him. The least we could do is refer somebody to him. Brian, I want us to do it. We can talk about it, but I would like for us to do a flyer that says the mompreneurs referred me. The mompreneurs referred. heard me. I just believe, Brian, that if we start posting your stuff on our platforms, listen, you can get another 50 or 100 clients because we're so dope and people trust us and believe in us. As y'all can see, I am in a pretty good mood on today. Listen, Brian, I want to yield to you to speak to the mom. Let's do the single mom. What can she expect out of her tax returns on this year? Brian, I yield to you.
Yeah, but with the single moms, definitely if you have young kids, it's still going to be a good situation. Um, Now, the IRS is starting late again this year as far as when they're going to start accepting returns. And normally that's a gift and a curse because sometimes people be wanting to file, their taxes early, get it out the way, or get their money, and they're not starting until the 29th to accept the returns now. But a lot of times that's a good thing because behind the scenes, when they move it back that far, that means sometimes that they're changing some laws. And they're talking about doing some things that, are going to help the economy. So that's why they start so late. Now, one of the things that's on the board is they're looking to change the child care back to how it was in 2021. And when I say change it back, child care expenses was the credit is the worst credit that's out there. It's the worst credit that's out there. And I'm gonna give y'all a little education. Like with child care, currently how it was and how it's always been for years, it don't matter how much you spend on child care. If you spent $10,000 for the year on child care, you can only write off 3,000 of that. Of that 3,000, you can only take a percentage based on your income. And if your income is over $43,000, you can only take 20%. So 20% of 3,000 is $600. So you spent $10,000 on childcare and you only get a $600 credit. That was crazy. And that's how it's always been. But to try to help people, help the economy, in 2021 they changed it to where they allow you to get almost 50% back as a refund, up to $4,000 per child. So that means if I spent $10,000 on a child, 4,000 of that I can get basically, well, I can write off 8,000 of that and I could get 50 back as a refund. So that means I could get an extra $4,000 back from my child care. They're thinking about changing it back to that to help the economy once again. So that can be something if you're a single mother and you have kids under the age of 13, because you can get after school, you can get some other things, that we could talk about later. But if you have young kids, especially, or you have grandkids that's in childcare, keep in mind that that can be a big, big deduction for you. So right now, that's one of the things that's going to be a change for people that actually have kids. Now you have the child tax credit, as you had mentioned, being under the age of 17. That's something that's pretty much been around for a while. That's the child tax credit. So if you have a dependent under the age of 17, you can actually get $2,000 credit for each child. If you have a situation where your income may not be that high and you don't need the credit, they'll make it refundable for you to where you'll get a portion of that back as a refund again. So again, we have some situations where if you have children at least under the age of 17, because under 19 you still get earned income credit, but you have to have your income have to be at a certain point, and your filing status have to be at a certain point. So you have to be, if you're a single mother, you probably can qualify with the filing status, but your income is going to determine how much you can get for earned income credit. So that'd be something that we would have to individually talk about because there's different, categories, different amounts based on what you make. So if that's a call you want to reach out to me and say, well, Brian, this is where I'm at right now. This was my last, if you don't have your W-2s, this is my year ending income from my check stub, how does that look? And we can take a preview of looking at where you may be at, for tax season this year. Does that work, Dr. Tavis?
Awesome, awesome sauce, Brian. Yes, 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 it does. I was trying to get the link for okay, there's Brian link there. Okay. Yes, it does work. So listen, so things are changing and things are shifting, and we know this in the economy that it is doing just that. And so we've had to shift. I know those and of course I do taxes as well, Brian. We've had to shift our mindsets as a tax um, uh, someone that pays taxes. We've had to shift our mindset to understand that the way that it used to be is not going to be that way. My question is, because the economy is quite interesting, Brian, have you heard anything that they're going to be doing to kind of shift the economy, whether it's with our taxes or especially as it pertains to taxes? Are they thinking about doing anything different? I know what you just said about that particular scenario. Is there anything else that they're thinking about doing differently that you know of or that you can share?
Yeah, well, one of the things they've done as well is drop the tax brackets. So with the tax brackets, you're taxed. There's different tax brackets based on what you make and on your taxable income. Everybody thinks it's on what they make. Your taxable income, so it's not your gross income, it's your taxable income. And they're changing the thresholds where they change the thresholds on those. So let's say, if you made $100,000, that's not your tax bracket that you're in. Your tax bracket is after all your, like, if you got kids and you got the child tax credit, if you have a business and you have a loss, you have rental property, you have all of that. So after all of that reduces your income down, then that's considered your taxable income. That's where your tax bracket is. So with that, the tax bracket, let's say if you were single and anything under 35,000, you was in a 10% tax bracket. Over 35,000 taxable income, you now go to a 22% tax bracket. So that's a big jump going from a 10% to a 22%. Well, I can say 10 because 10 is really, really low. You'll be in a 12%. You're in a 12% tax bracket, and then you'll go to a 22%. That's a 10% increase on the money you're gonna be taxed on. That can be big. So what they did was, instead of now, if you once you get over 35 going to a 22%, they brought it up to like 45,000. So that means now, as long as I'm under 45, I can stay in a 12% tax bracket. And that's gonna be big because, again, think about them taxing. Think about them taxing 10% additional amount of your money. So that means, again, if I'm already hurting and they tax me at a particular rate and then I move into that 10% only because I made 35,000, that can be helpful because now I may have made 42,000, but I'm still in that 12%. And that's not gonna hurt me as much because I'm still saving 10% of my taxes that I could keep in my pocket to do further things. So that's going to be big. So does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does, Brian. Absolutely. So let me ask you this: what does I mean? We got to shift our mindsets, right? What does our mindset shifts need to be as it pertains to taxes, anyway? Right?
You said should shift our mindset to what was that next time?
Our mindset to as it pertains to our taxes and even having to pay taxes.
Oh yes, definitely. Um, Again, when we go back to rich and successful people, and I always refer back to that because everybody claimed, Dr. Tavis, that they want to be rich, they want to be successful, they want to leave legacy, they want to build wealth. And the reason why I always refer to rich and successful people because that's a mindset of them as far as taxes. They not thinking about refunds. They thinking about getting their money throughout the year and investing their money to something that's going to make them money. So yes, we have to shift our mindset to realize, you know, we don't need to be getting big refunds. If you're getting big refunds now, 7, 8,000. I didn't even say 7, 8. I would say now because refunds have decreased a little bit. If you're getting 4 and 5,000, then you're giving the government too much of your money up front. And that 4 or 5 thousand that you're getting on the back end, yeah, that's a portion of what you gave them up front. So the goal is to really just come out and break even at the end of the year, get more of your money throughout the year so you can live better. That's the ultimate goal. That's what rich and successful people do. They're not waiting on refunds. So if you talk amongst the elite and you talk amongst the people of where you're trying to be and you start saying your refund is going to be this, they're going to look at you differently because that's not a mindset of a person that's really trying to build wealth. What I want to do is I want to get my money throughout the year and invest it in something that's going to make me make money. So my money going to be making money. If you do happen to get a big refund, some people like to get their big refunds and they'll use it for, that'll be their money to go on vacation every year. So they use it for that purpose. That's fine. That's fine. I would say if you get a big refund, take a portion of that refund because see, it's money you never had anyway. It's money you never had anyway, so you're not losing nothing. So if you get 4,000 and you take two of that and put that into an investment account and you start your investment and let that money make its own money, then that's how you start building wealth and building legacy. So we have to change our mindset about refunds. That it's money that really we've never had all year, so we're not losing anything. So if we take a portion, put that portion into something that's going to help us make more money, it's going to be hard for us to lose in the long run. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely, Brian. One of the things that I was thinking about, and you are correct, and I think what has to happen, Brian, and we always talk about this, is there has to be a mindset shift too, because in doing being that I've been doing taxes since 2012, and one of the things that I realized is there's a jump, a leap that goes from I'm expecting my tax returns to live off of, or I'm expecting my tax returns to do help me pay my rent. Because what I found, and we're talking about all types of demographics, right? Because we'll get to the next demographics. If not this week, we'll do it next week because we got tax season. We have all season to have this conversation. But I want to speak to those, even if it's one person, Brian. I want us to speak to the mindset of the person who live off of their tax returns. I know that, like I said, since the demographics that the guy, because I have my own now, but the guy that I worked for, um, it was First Choice Taxes and More, was I need my taxes. And some of them would come and get tax loans, and some of them would take them. And I begged some of them to, hey, go ahead and start a business, especially those who had who were in the hair business or home health care. I begged them, and some of them literally missed out on money with the PPP because they did not have their own business and business bank account. Let's talk about investing that money and the mindset shift that it takes to go from getting however many thousands of dollars you're going to get to even being able to invest in that and saying, wait a second, I want this money to work for me instead of me working for this money or looking for it as a need instead of as an investment. Right, Brian? Because it takes a mindset shift for that. So that means doing the budget. I mean, it goes into so many different things that you have to do, from doing a budget to make sure that you're not in that place again next year, to whatever that thing is. So let's talk about. I know that's a loaded statement, but let's just pick it apart and talk about that, Brian, because your mindset has to shift from this is what I deserve, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get my nails done. I'm gonna get my hair done. I'm gonna get me a new wig. I'm gonna get me and it may only be one person, but this is a conversation that I really believe needs to be had, into thinking like, okay, how can I flip this money? Right. And I know that's probably not the best language, but how can I make this money work for me, Brian? Let's talk about that.
Yes, but Dr. Tavis, the first thing it starts with is realizing that you have to start telling yourself and reprogramming yourself to say that's not even recognizable money. That's not even recognizable money. So when you start getting tax refunds, yeah, and flip is an okay word. We just associate it with other things, but nah, flip is good. If you want to use invest, that's good, but it's all the same thing. Whatever makes you feel good at the end of the day, whatever wording you use, I don't care. Let's just get it done. And so we have to start basically realizing that's money I never had. Like to me, like to have anything that I find, if I find money, anything that I get a check that wasn't expected, I don't take it and necessarily pay bills with it. Because if I didn't have it, how was I going to pay my bills anyway? I would have had to find a way to pay my bills. I take it and I put it into an investment. And I let that money start growing. I let that money start making money. And that's how we have to do with our tax refunds. And like I say, again, if it's not all of it, it's basically a portion of it. We got to start investing, because at the end of the day, we talk about young people and young people want stuff right now, instant gratification. It ain't young people, it's adults, it's people. It's everybody. Like we want instant gratification on stuff. So we want to get stuff now that makes us feel good. Know what feels good? Knowing that 20 years from now, I'm not worried about money. I'm in a place because the biggest hurt is regret. The regret of being 20 years down the line and saying, man, I should have put that money into something. I should have been investing my money so I wouldn't have to work so hard right now. That's the mindset that we have to have. We have to have forward thinking mindsets and not instant gratification. And so I don't care what amount of money it is. With that refund is you didn't have it all year. So you was gonna have to make a way for whatever you're trying to do now. So and I question all my clients who get refunds, who get big refunds. I said, what you gonna do with that money? You should go take a trip. Oh, I wish I could. I gotta pay these credit cards off. I gotta pay these bills off. You was gonna have to do that anyway. And I'm not saying don't pay your bills, but how you was gonna do it before? If you're waiting on your refund to fund and finance some things you have to do, you got to reevaluate some stuff. You got to take a look at yourself and say, I got to do something different. Because you get a tax refund one time a year. What are you doing for the other 12 months? And and I say this too, not to down anybody. And if anybody on this call, again, reevaluate. But when I have people say, "Well, I'm just trying to see when my refund gonna be back, Wes, because I need that for my earnest money for my house, or that's gonna be my down payment for the house." If you're dependent on your refund for your down payment or your earnest money for your house, you ain't ready to be a homeowner. You ain't ready to be a homeowner. All these moves should be made with the money you've already set aside and allocated for this. And if anybody think I'm wrong in what I'm saying, please put your hand up, get on the mic, let me know. Please. I definitely want to hear from you. But we have to change our mindset, man, about our tax refunds. Getting your money throughout the year, paying your stuff off, living a great lifestyle throughout the year is the goal. Not to wait till we get to the end of the year, get a big refund, and then have to spend it on all of the things that we didn't pay for throughout the year. That's the only way we're going to break this cycle. Because, I've been in this business 20, going in 27 years. And I'll be honest with you, most of my clients been doing the same thing. If they've been my client for 15 years, they've been doing the same thing for 15 years. And at some point, you got to get sick of that and say, I want to have something different. I want to do something different. Ask yourself, what have you done different from last year? What have you done different from the last 5 years? And if you say, well, know what? I really hadn't really changed nothing. What would make you think something's going to be different in the next 5 to 10 years? It starts now, and it starts with your tax dollars because that's where they're getting you at. You got to learn to keep more of that money and then have that money make money. That's the only way we're going to shift this thing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does, Brian. I think this is eye-opening for all of us, right? Because if we are going to do, if we're going to do something, we want different results, we got to at least do something different, right? So that's a direction that we're all going in. So this is really a great conversation and a great dialogue to have, Brian. So my question is, if somebody wants to get in touch with you and they're interested in doing this, how can they get in touch with you, Brian? I know, I think the link is up. I can't really see, but or the link is in the. If it's not up at the top, it may be in the chat box. The link to you directly is probably there as well. And so let's talk about them getting in touch with you.
Yeah, around this time, once tax season start happening, it's probably I don't have a problem with anybody. If you need my direct number, um, I think it's in on my might be in my profile. But if not, you can DM me, definitely DM me and get it if you need it. But the best way to probably contact me now is the office, because the young ladies are there. They answering the phone. Once I start getting busy, I probably don't check my cell for a day or two. If I have a message, if I miss your call, so they normally give me the messages every day that comes through the office, and those are usually right in front of me. So I usually return those calls much quicker. That number is 678-213-1141, or you can go to the website and you can get all of the information. And the website is LB, like living better, lbtaxservice.com. So that's LB tax service with no s.com. Yeah, and definitely make sure that you follow me on IG, because I'm doing a lot more. Yeah, I'm doing a lot more with getting back doing lives now. Like Tuesday nights, I'm doing my lives again. So I'll be on tonight at 6 p.m. So if y'all want to jump on, I'll be talking about a few things, some tax strategy stuff, as well as some tips on what's holding you back from achieving the goals that you need to achieve.
No, that's going to be good, Brian. What's holding you back from achieving the goals that you want to achieve? We actually had our goal setting session on this past um, Sunday, and it was really, really good. So that's going to be a really good session to. That's going to be a really good session to have. And to be able to be a part of, Brian. Make sure you all go and follow Brian. Follow him on Instagram as well. I think most of you are already following him, but go ahead and make sure that you're following him so that as you he's coming out with these new things, and your children may have questions. A lot of you have grown children. They may have tax questions. They may have questions that they need answers to as well. Brian, I have an investment question. I don't know if we want to bring somebody in for this question, or maybe you can answer it. Someone wanted to ask, what are some investment options they can start now?
Probably the easiest thing is getting with a financial advisor and just invest in mutual funds and stocks. That's probably, like, without even understanding the game. Like, I didn't really understand how taxes and well, not I didn't say taxes, but stocks and mutual funds and stuff work. But I knew I needed to do something when I started. So the way I learned and the way I was taught is invest in things. Say, get with your financial advisor. Say, I want to make some investment. This is how much I can invest. If it's $50 a month, $100 a month, and when they say, well, what stocks to invest in, until you kind of learn the game, invest in things that you're spending most of your money on. If you say, I'm always on Netflix, I watch Netflix all the time. If you see that Netflix stocks is going up, invest in Netflix, because that's something that you're basically, doing, watching. So it's almost like you basically a part of that company that you're always on. If it depends on what type of automobile you have. So you start looking at it that way and simplifying it in the things that or things that that's popular. Right now, if you say, all right, well, you know what, Valentine's Day coming up. So that means that certain stores or either Hallmark cards is going to be really, really booming over the next month and a half. So you start investing in Hallmark. You start investing in some of the stores that are basically that sell the candy. Elmer's. Is it that called? Is it Elmer's? But one of those companies has all of the candy that they produce for those times. So even if you invest in it and you get started now and you do that for the next 2 months, and then you sell those stocks or you basically buy another stock. So you say you talk to your advisor and you say, I want to switch because now St. Patrick's Day coming up, or the summer is coming around. So what's going to be hot for the summer? Cruises. And so little things like that, you start investing in things that's simplified, that you can't lose. And sometimes that's how you get your feet wet in it. And you start talking with your advisor and they start saying, well, you know what, these last 2 months, this is where your stocks went up. You see where it went up at, it dropped and then it's gonna go probably up in these few months. But invest in things you don't know. Don't be trying to read the market. Don't be listening to all these people with all the savvy stuff and you're just starting. If you know that you say, well, I don't drink nothing but Dasani water, invest in Dasani. Invest in Coca-Cola. Some of those stocks may be a little bit more expensive, but you may can find some cheaper stocks. But that's one way I'll tell you to get started is just invest in things that you know that you're spending your money on a lot. If it's specific restaurants that you go to, get started like that, and don't overthink the process. Because what happens is that we have, paralysis analysis. We basically want to analyze everything, and so we get paralyzed because we can't understand the language. That's too much. Simplify it. Simplify it. And just get started on the things you know first. And even if you want to just read up on them and say, all right, let me see how this stock is doing. Let me see. I know I go to PF Chains. I know I go to Cheesecake. Well, no, y'all don't go to Cheesecake, because that's yeah, women don't go to cheesecake. We saw the video. That's not, maybe y'all just don't go on the first date. That's what it is. That's what it is. So yeah, so we ain't gonna do cheesecake though. But y'all get the point though. Y'all get the point, man. But yeah, we gotta get started and keep it simple and stop trying to, overthink things though, because we do have a premise that we will overthink it and try to figure out stocks. We ain't learned stocks in 40 years, but now we want to be a master, so we ain't gonna do it because we don't know everything about it. Nah, get started. Get started.
Well, my God, today, get started. So I want to know who's going to get started, who's going to do something different, who's going to go to their human resources department and add an extra $25 or $50 in their, have it taken out of their check, clutch your pearls. Most of your companies take out your investments pre-tax dollars anyway. Go and invest an extra $25 into something. Who's going to do that? I cannot see the chat. I don't know if you can, Brian, but who is going to do that? My God, today. I think that we need to go ahead and get started, get started, get started, get started. One of the investments that I have, Brian, I started when you first started coming into the mompreneur room. It was when it was a single mompreneur club, and one of the investments that I did for Adrian's college. It is because you came in and told us about what you had done for Jamie and stuff. So I do want you to know that we are some action takers in this room and in this space. Because here's the thing that I love about you, Brian. I do. You're not one of those, if you ain't did it yet, you too old. It ain't gonna work. No, you say just start somewhere. I pray that you keep that attitude of just get started somewhere. Just start. It don't matter where. Just get started. Just start somewhere. And as long as we just get started, Brian, I believe that if we just get started, we'll keep going as well. So, Brian, we are coming up on the hour of 9:45. What I want you to do is to give us some last tools and tips. I know you're coming on tonight, right?
Yeah, well, I got so I'll be back live tonight.
I'm so excited. Even though I don't come on that much, but I still be excited. But Nichelle will send it to me sometimes. So I appreciate her sending it to me. So I'm able to hop on every now and then because she be reminding me, Lord of mercy. Thank you, Nichelle, for that. Can we just thank Nichelle for reminding me that Brian is on? I appreciate that. So, Brian, so you're coming on tonight at, is it 6 or 7? Isn't it 7?
Well, it's 6 right now. I'm gonna change it to 7 starting next week. Once tax season pick up, I'll start going to 7, and then on Tuesdays because I'm gonna start my university, our Rich Boy University, and we'll be doing that on Tuesdays from like 9 to 10. And so really,
Okay.
it's a university. It's a continuous education. Getting your masters of finance and life. So
Whoop,
we'll
whoop,
we'll
whoop.
start getting into that.
Oh, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about teaching at that university.
Yes,
Listen,
yes, you definitely gonna be one of the instructors.
I'm excited about that, Brian, and all the things that y'all are doing. Can we celebrate, Brian? Did y'all hear what he said? His university. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it, Brian. And we are so proud of you for that. See, you're action takers. We're action takers, and things are really, really shifting. I know I joke a lot, but things are really, really shifting in our lives and in our space as well, Brian. And we can see the difference that these conversations and these dialogues are making in our lives as well. So, Brian, do me a favor. Give us some powerful tips as it pertains to even whatever you feel, because sometimes it's mindset, whatever it is. I want you to just flow for about a good 5 minutes. Flow and give us a pep talk. How about that? A pep talk. Thank you, Brian.
Well, like I always tell you, you got to be intentional, and the thing for me is seeing so many people talk about what they want, where they want to be, and right now is definitely it's a problem because we have so many people that's down, that's depressed. That's a whole lot of things negative, basically, because they're not where they want to be. And the thing about it is they don't see no shift. They don't see a shift. And you gotta be extremely intentional about where you want to be. Because you got so many people that's gonna put negative stuff in your mind, in your head. And if you listen to all the chatter, if you watch what people are doing and all those things gonna get you and keep you depressed. And I always say what separated me from so many other people is the fact that I was intentional about everything I said I wanted. I sacrificed a lot of stuff. And the thing is that we don't want to sacrifice nothing. We don't want to give up nothing to get something better. And if you do that, man, it's going to make a world of difference. And what we look for, and a lot of people hate to see it, hate to hear this, you ain't going to have balance until you achieve the levels of success that you need. Balance and greatness don't go together. Balance and greatness does not go together. And we're looking for it. And we're not realistic in it. And the reason why I say that is because if you think about it, if you think about the commitment that you have to put into being great, if you think about all the great ones, the commitment they had to put into it, you're gonna have to give up some things. Like and we hate to say it and hate to hear it, but you may not be able to make every single basketball game for your child. You may not, and it sounds good. I don't miss one of my kids' games. I don't never. Yeah, that sounds good. But you think about it. If you miss one or two to make a deal happen, that can change the life of you and your family going forward, do you really think that's going to impact your child's life if you miss one or two games out of a whole season? Even if it was three or four, and they played 17 basketball games, I guarantee you'll be no resentment there. That you had 12 to 13 games. We have to give up something to get something better. And that's the thing that I'm seeing is people are not willing to sacrifice something. We want all of the benefits of greatness, but we're doing things at an average level. If you really can sit back and say, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing to be great, to things that I want to achieve, the lifestyle where I want to be, where I want to retire, when I want to retire, am I doing everything in my power to get there? Am I reading personal development stuff every day? Am I working on me some kind of way every day? This is what I want to do. Have I actually downloaded or bought 2 books to learn how to do that? I'm trying to be where this person is trying to be. Have I reached out to that person and asked them how was the road to get there? Had I talked to them? Had I went to any network? We're in the ninth month of the year. We're in the ninth day of the year. How many network events have you been to? How many functions have you been to connect and collaborate with people? So I always tell people, be realistic. Be realistic in what you're asking for. Are you putting in the work? You demand everything from everybody else but yourself. And I was talking to some people that like the Atlanta Falcons. They they they
Don't do that. Don't do that.
they
Don't do that.
love the Atlanta Falcons. And everybody was calling for the coach to be fired. And now his record has been subpar over the last few years. But I asked somebody, I say, but y'all always calling for people to be fired when they're not excelling at their job. But we never look at ourselves to fire ourselves when we're not excelling at our jobs. If you was to grade yourself on where you needed to be, where you trying to get to, where you say what you say you are trying to accomplish, and where you at in that stage, do you really have a right to fire yourself? And most of us probably need to. So we're asking for something for somebody else that we're not doing for ourselves. We gotta be realistic, man, in our dreams, our goals and desires, and what we're putting behind that to get there. We're not willing to sacrifice. So I tell you, start today. Look at yourself and start to sacrifice of what you're trying to get to. And a sacrifice may not be big. It may be when we talk about investment, when you say, I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck, or like, I don't see my future. I don't see my future basically ending like I want it to end. And that's in the sense of financial, like what you saying right now, where my money at and my dreams are, that means I might be working till I'm 70. And I don't want to do that. Sacrificing may mean taking $50 a month to start investing into something. And it may sacrifice and say, well, I can't afford $50. Yes, one thing about especially black folks, we are very resourceful and resilient. I guarantee you, if somebody was to take $50 out of your paycheck, you'll find a way to steal. You'll shift and you'll adapt, and you'll find a way to get all your bills still paid. And you'll learn to live without that $50. We do it all the time. Whenever something's taken away from us, we learn to adapt and we start living without it and just shift. That's our new norm. But if you look at what you're probably wasting $50 a month on, $100, I challenge y'all to do 100. If you look at some of the things you're spending $100 on, I guarantee you have some non-necessities worth $100 a month. And that's probably about 90% of the people. So it's hard for me to believe that we don't have the ability to make these changes. I know with me all day, if I say, I ain't gonna never say I can't do something because I know I got room because I know I eat out too much. And I know what my meals be like. If you went out and ate with me, you know we be eating and we be trying. So I do that 3, 4 times a month. I know I got it. And if I ever said I didn't, I'm lying because all I have to stop doing is eating out so much. And if you might not, and there's always that one or two people that say, well, I don't eat out that much though. It don't matter if you don't do it that much. If it's still you're spending, 50, 75, $100 a month on eating out, having a drink, and all of those things, then it's somewhere in there. We just have to want it, man. And we gotta be intentional about it. And like I say, your why just gotta be strong. Because if you're saying you're doing it for your kids, but then you're really not making a sacrifice, think about, are you really doing your kids? Do you really basically want your kids to have the life that you never had? Mm. Does that make sense, Dr. Tavis?
Absolutely, Brian. Listen, thank you so very much, Brian, for being so diligent and so committed, even when you're all over the world, to come in and give us this wisdom. I really appreciate it. Super excited about what's to come this year with us collectively, um, as well. One of the things I want people to make sure they do, that they're following Brian. And do me a favor, be committed to inviting somebody else to the table with these conversations and these dialogues. Be committed to, even if the people don't come in Clubhouse, send them the link and say, hey, you need to follow this guy. He has all the tax questions, because tax is not your area anyway. So it's his. So commit to inviting somebody else to the table, with the conversation and the dialogue. Do you know that marketing, word of mouth, is free? That you telling somebody about this, the word of mouth, is free. The second thing I want you to do too is, I am doing another segment, $7 segment of the goal setting, part two of the goal setting. I think I'm going to do it this Sunday. It will not take the place of the Great Emerge this time. Now, we may roll over into it because it gets so deep and God just moves. But I'm going to do another session of that because, number one, because people ask me to, and you know how I am. But number two, because I coach a lot of you, if I can convince you to go ahead and set your goals now, or give you the, no, 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 I don't have to convince you because most of you are convinced. If I can prevent the atmosphere and the environment for you to go ahead and do that, it's almost like accountability for $7 to go ahead and do that. Then, as I am coaching you, your mind is not all over the place saying, but I need to do this and I need to do this, and I don't have clarity here and I don't have clarity there. So we'll be doing another $7 session. Can we just say, for real, for real, that's probably the best class. And I always say this, Brian, because I always say it, but that's probably the best class, goal setting class, that I have ever taught. I'm creating, it was so good that I'm creating an ebook from it because you all asked for it. So I'm going to do an ebook and probably a printed book so that you can print the sheets off and set your goals and then create your own little notebook. Because yeah, these binders and these bound books are really good. But what I'm finding is having an actual notebook, because your goals change. You reach your goal and you can just add in addition to, and you can see how much, oh my gosh, you have accomplished, what that looks like. So that's the goal for this upcoming, the way that God gave me goal setting for 2024. So deep, so over the top, but I'm excited because it gives you clarity. It gives you clarity, also give you Bible. In addition to that, every goal also has a biblical scenario of how this thing played out in the Bible. I think it's so dope, only because God gave it to me, and I dare not take credit for it because I'm just not that dope, right? But it has to be God, and so that came from some. I'm thinking, what is Joe? It was somebody said only only Dr. Tavis will hear from God to say, "Hey, let's do it this way." And so that takes care of all your thought patterns of, okay, but I need scripture, but I need this, but it's right there. And so I'm even going to show you how to do it with some of the AI systems this time. I'm going to show you how to create the ones that will work for you using a couple of AI tools that can help you navigate. And it's only $7. I will put that link up tomorrow. Only $7, and you get all this. Now the replay costs. The replay is a little bit extra because, for $7, come on now. The replay is still going to be extra, simply because you can walk this thing out and it's going to change the trajectory of your entire life. Hey, thank you all so much for joining on today. I don't think I can close the room. I can't. Well, thank you all for joining on today. Maybe if I leave quietly, the room will close. I'm going to try to re download the app I took a video for y'all to see. It's just doing something really, really weird, but it won't let me like bring my face up. So I want to thank you all so much for joining. And this room is going to, I'm going to try to close this room in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If it's still open, then it's still open. But Brian, once again, thank you. I appreciate you. I honor you. And I bless God for you. Thank you all for joining. This room is closing. I can't make anybody a moderator. That's the problem. I cannot make anybody a moderator at all. Wait, let me see if I can. I think if Joanne comes in, she's automatically on the stage, but she has a test or something. Wait, let me check this out. Let me see. I think Stella too. Is Dr. Stella in the audience? I can't see. Let me call and see if she can come in and close. I think she automatically comes on the stage as well. But I can't even make Brian a moderator. That's why he's not a moderator. I can't do it. It was doing this morning, but it kind of died off. So let me see if I can call Stella to come in and see if she can do it. But thank you all so very much. I pray that this was a great session for you as well. Hey, can you try to come into this Clubhouse room and shut it down for me? Can you come on stage? I can't bring you up, but can you go out and come in? I think you'll be on the stage. All right. Okay, so we're going to see if she can go out and come in and be on the stage and shut down or whatever the case may be. Let's hope so in the name of Jesus.